Hello, Rivalry friends, and welcome to This Week in Rivalry, presented by SportRivalry.com. I'm Samuel Morris. It's September. Football is in full swing, and there is a crisp fall feeling in the air. The autumn air means that football is back, but it also means that the Fall Classic is just around the corner, and our nation's pastime is reaching its postseason. Rivalry is something that has made our nation's pastime extremely intriguing. Some of America's most intense rivalries belong to the sport of baseball. The notable Yankees-Red Sox rivalry has been one of the most storied rivalries in all sports. In the National League, there is another rivalry that has been just as storied, the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. We're going to dive into these rivalries on an historical level and provide fan perspectives on these rivalries. It's the MLB special on This Week in Rivalry. Let's begin today's special with the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. These teams have been battling for a very long time. The Yankees currently lead the historical record against the Red Sox with a record of 1,194 to 1,004 with 14 ties since then. For more on this historic rivalry, here is Skylar Workman.
This is Skylar Workman with SportRivalry.com. Today we're going to talk about the rivalry between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. Let's join Sport Rivalry Man on a brief history of the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry. This rivalry dates back over 100 years to 1901, when the Boston Americans first met the Baltimore Orioles at Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland. The Yankees began in Baltimore before becoming the New York team that we know today in 1903. 1919 began the curse of the Bambino for the Red Sox. Boston owner Harry Frazee sold his player Babe Ruth to New York. Babe Ruth's move to the Yankees began an 86-year span where the Red Sox would not win a World Series. Game 3 of the 1999 American League Championship Series provided an anticipated matchup between Red Sox ace Pedro Martinez and former Sox pitcher Roger Clemens. However, this matchup was overshadowed by a few brushback pitches by both pitchers, resulting in a bench-clearing altercation. During this, 72-year-old Yankees bench coach Don Zimmer charged Martinez, who then threw him to the ground. Also overshadowed by the Martinez-Zimmer altercation on the field, Yankees pitcher Jeff Nelson was involved in a scuffle with one of Fenway Park's groundskeepers. The 1999 ALCS was decided in 7 games, with Game 7 stretching into extra innings, and Yankee third baseman Aaron Boone hitting a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 11th. The 2003 ALCS resulted in the Red Sox firing their manager, Grady Little, who was blamed for leaving a tired Pedro Martinez in to complete the inning that led to a blown early lead. During that offseason, the Sox also attempted to trade one of their top players, Manny Ramirez, for All-Star Alex Rodriguez. Ironically, that trade fell through, and Rodriguez signed a contract with Boston's rival, the New York Yankees. Over the years, we have seen Red Sox greats such as Ted Williams, Carl Yastrzemski, Jim Rice, and Pedro Martinez face off against Yankees like Joe DiMaggio, Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, and of course Babe Ruth. For a rivalry that has stood over 100 years, the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees have given baseball fans some of the most memorable games in both regular and postseason play, and epitomize the meaning of a sports rivalry. Our lesson in rivalry takes up a discussion of Schadenfreude today. Schadenfreude is explained as the tendency of people to celebrate when another person or group experiences failure. This feeling can be intensified when a person is confronted with someone or a group they consider a rival. This has been Skylar Workman with SportRivalry.com, signing off.
Thank you, Skylar. With a crazy trade, legendary players, and amazing playoff series, the Red Sox and Yankees rivalry has been nothing but exceptional. For the fan perspective on the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry, here is Jayla Sims.
Hey sports fans, this is Jayla Sims with SportRivalry.com, and I am here with your fan perspective. And here we have a perspective of a fan who went to a Red Sox vs. Yankees game. They shared, I went to Fenway Park for a meaningless October Yankees vs. Red Sox game back in 2010. Neither team were going to the postseason, so I just was going for the feeling of seeing the Red Sox play at Fenway. Most Yankee fans that I encountered were nice. However, there were some intoxicated Red Sox fans that I had to deal with who took the rivalry just a bit too far. I blocked that out and tried to enjoy the coldest baseball game I had ever been to. Fans of the other team have an unspoken admiration of one thing or another, it seemed like. Through the tenacity of the rivalry, there was just a sense of awe. The Red Sox ended up winning the game, and my experience had been a good one. But I still hate the Yankees.
Thank you, Jayla. And now for the big rivalry in the National League, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs. This rivalry features a bench-clearing brawl, a historic home run chase, and plenty of history in between. The leader in the head-to-head matchups are the Chicago Cubs, with a 1,215 and 1,159 record against the Cardinals, with the Cubs sweeping the Cardinals just this past week. For more on this historic rivalry, once again, is Skylar Workman.
Hello, this is Skylar Workman with SportRivalry.com. Today, we're going to talk about the rivalry between the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's join Sport Rivalry Man on a brief history of the Cubs-Cardinals rivalry. The rivalry between the Cubs and the Cardinals is one of the longest and most heated in all of Major League Baseball. The two teams first met on April 12, 1892. Then, the Cardinals were called the Browns, and the Cubs were known as the Colts. Historically, the Cubs lead the Cardinals overall in the series. The Cardinals have won 11 World Series titles, and the Cubs have won 3, with the most recent in 2016. On September 22, 1974, the rivalry between the Cardinals and the Cubs intensified. Al Hrabosky of the Cardinals tried to complete his theatrical pitch routine, but every time, Cubs hitter Bill Madlock would step out of the batter's box. This would cause Hrabosky to step behind the mound and start his routine over again. The umpire became frustrated with this cycle. He told Hrabosky to pitch without Madlock in the batter's box. This prompted the Cubs managers to go out to the plate to complain, resulting in an unforgettable bench-clearing brawl. In 1998, Sammy Sosa of the Cubs and Mark McGwire of the Cardinals were both striving to be the first to break Roger Maris's home run record of 61 set back in 1961. McGwire hit his 62nd home run in a game against none other than the Cubs. The Cardinals and the Cubs met for the first time ever in a postseason game in 2015. They were playing in the National League Division Series. The Cubs went on to win the series 3-1. In our lesson on sport rivalry today, we are introduced to the definition of sports fans. One identified sport fans is those interested in and follow a sport team and or athlete. Fans are typically introduced to sport by family members or close friends. Being a sport fan also allows a person to feel part of a group, which can decrease feelings of loneliness. Thank you for your time. This has been Skylar Workman with SportRivalry.com, signing off.
Thank you, Skylar. Like the Yankees and Red Sox, The fans have the most unique perspectives when it comes to this rivalry. For more on this, once again, is Jayla Sims.
One Chicago Cubs fan gave their perspective on the Cubs vs. Cardinals rivalry. They stated, "I was born and raised as a fan of the Chicago Cubs, and we were always taught that it was a good day if either the Cubs won or the Cardinals lost. I had seen plenty of games at Wrigley Field, but not one of a Cardinals game. However, this was soon going to change. Finally, I was going to a Cubs versus Cardinals game at Busch Stadium back in 2015. As a Cubs fan, there was a hint of hesitation going into the atmosphere of a rival fan base. However, it was a lot better of an experience than I thought. The Cardinals fan I've encountered were very nice, but it may have been because of the fact that we were winning."
Thank you, Jayla. To explain how some fans experience joy when their rival team loses, here is Dr. Cody Havard to discuss glory out of reflected failure.
Glory out of reflective failure, or gorfing, explains how some sport fans will rejoice when their rival team loses to someone other than their favorite team. This is similar to schadenfreude, which means a person taking pleasure in the demise of someone else. However, there are some key distinctions between glory out of reflective failure and schadenfreude. Whereas schadenfreude is something that individuals experience on a personal level and internally, glory out of reflective failure, one, is experienced personally, but also makes the fan feel better about themselves and reflects positively on their favorite team. Additionally, as schadenfreude is something that is experienced internally, glory out of reflective failure also allows a fan to publicly display their pleasure at a rival team's loss and allows them to further demonstrate their affiliation with their favorite team.
And that is our show. Huge special thank you to Skylar Workman and Jayla Sims. Ricky Fitzpatrick is our editor. And another huge thank you for Dr. Havard and the fine people at sportrivalry.com. This has been the MLB special for This Week in Rivalry, presented by sportrivalry.com. I'm Samuel Morris, and thank you for listening.